Look who's here. He's Congressman James Comer. He's chair of House Oversight. Congratulations on your chairmanship. Okay, so your committee just launched today the probe into the Biden family overseas deal-making, Hunter Biden, making money off of Biden's government job. The question is, are you going to get those 150 suspicious activity reports from Treasury? And how does this connect to Biden mishandling classified documents?
Well, it all is a pattern that goes back to a money trail that leads, unfortunately, back to China. With respect to the suspicious activity reports or the bank violations, I'm confident that Treasury Secretary Yellen will give those to us. The last time we requested them, she said, well, I could give them to you, but you're in the minority, so that doesn't matter. Well, now I'm in the majority. I am chairman of the Oversight Committee, which is supposed to have access to these to begin with. So I'm pretty confident we'll get those one way or the other. If we don't get them from Secretary Yellen, then we'll have to get them from the banks.
Okay, so the second batch of classified documents that the president mishandled at a different location than his think tank, multiple locations now being searched. This is a growing problem. His think tank office at the Biden Penn Center had them, but these documents were 6 years after he left the Obama White House. His think tank launched 2 years after he left in 2018. Are you going to be looking at whether the president used his think tank office as the chair of Biden Family Incorporated, like Hunter's deal-making in Ukraine and China?
Absolutely. We have a lot of questions about what all is going on in these two locations now. Look, Joe Biden said it was irresponsible when Donald Trump had classified documents. What we know is every president accidentally or inadvertently takes documents that we later learn may be classified. But at the end of the day, Joe Biden was vice president. And my question is, what is he doing with these classified documents, and who all had access to these locations? When the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, with respect to Trump's classified documents, they seized the security cameras. They went through every room, including Melania's closets. Here, all we know for sure is that lawyers for Joe Biden, who, by the way, didn't have access to classified information, they apparently turned it over to the National Archives. Well, we learned they turned it over the first batch in November. We only know this because of investigative reporting at CBS. Now today, NBC broke a story on a separate batch of classified documents. It appears that there's someone perhaps disgruntled in Biden world that's tipping the press off. At the end of the day, Joe Biden needs to come clean and tell the American people exactly what he had and who all had access to these.
Well, yeah, this is covering it up before the midterms. Voters did not see this information, what was going on before the midterms. So, Congressman, the timeline shows the action. China donates more than $54 million to UPenn, which funded the Biden think tank. And the Biden think tank wasn't doing fundraising. It got money from UPenn. Evening Edit finds that Biden's vice presidential aides, who later worked at Biden's think tank, were meeting with Chinese officials from Ukraine. That includes Mark Carpenter. Mark Carpenter was later named director of the Biden Penn Center.
Yeah, and the trail here from the Biden Center to the Biden administration, and when you consider that the primary source of funding for the Biden Center were anonymous donations in China, I mean, this stinks to high heaven. And this is going to be part of our investigation because we're concerned that this administration and this president is compromised because of the millions of dollars that both he and his family have received from China. This is something that every American should be concerned about, and it's frustrating that the mainstream media attacks me every day for having the nerve to try to investigate and determine where this money, in fact, is coming from in China, why they're so interested in donating millions of dollars to Joe Biden's Biden Center and invest with Hunter Biden's shady business dealings. I mean, this is a concern, and we're not going to let up. And I'm glad that this story broke about the classified documents because it's further proof that we need to investigate the Biden family influence peddling.
Because, you know, the Democrats, even the Democrat Senator Mark Warner, chair of Senate Select Subcommittee on Intelligence, demanded a briefing from the DOJ on this. I mean, there's national security implications here. GOP House Intelligence, we're hearing, asking DNI Avril Haines for a U.S. intelligence damage assessment, citing potential violations of laws. Let's watch the president on all of this. Watch this.
I don't have access to classified information anymore. I don't get briefed every morning by the agency, as I did for 8 years.
Who would like to thank?
The 4 years after being vice president, I was a professor at Penn. They found some documents in a box in a locked cabinet, or at least a closet. Surprised to learn that there were any government records that were taken there to that office. But I don't know what's in the documents.
They were in his closet at his office. Do you not know what's in your closet and your office? Do you believe him? By the way, he was not a professor at UPenn. You know,
Right.
Do you believe him on this?
I don't know what to believe. I mean, I can believe that he wouldn't know what kind of documents he has because I have a lot of questions as to who makes a lot of the decisions in this White House, quite frankly. But at the end of the day, the fact that they were in his possession, he's responsible for those documents, and we need to know who all had access to those documents. Did they just sit in a closet, supposedly, all the years? And all we know is what he told us, that they were sitting in a closet. For all we know, they've been in China or somewhere, or the CCP's had access to the Biden Center because they're the biggest donor to the Biden Center. I mean, we have a lot of questions, and hopefully we'll get some answers very soon.
Listen, you know, Clinton's, Sandy Berger, right? He was Clinton's national security advisor.
Right.
Remember Sandy Berger, before he testified before the 9/11 Commission, he stuffed classified documents into his socks. What happened to him was he was sentenced to 2 years probation. He served 100 hours of community service, and he was stripped of his security clearance. He lost his law license. So, but this is okay that the president or anybody's allowed to have classified documents like this at a think tank that's getting funding from China? Final word.
No, it's not. And when Democrats do something like that, it's considered sloppy or irresponsible. When Republicans do it, it's criminal. This is another example of a two-tier system of justice at DOJ.
Got it. Congressman Comer, congratulations again. We'll have you back on. Good to see you.
Thank you.